Welcome to Words of the Prophets, a podcast where we discuss the latest talks from the General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My name is Todd, and today I got a special guest with me, my son Lawson. How are you today, Lawson?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Recently returned from Brazil, where they speak secondhand Portuguese.
Oh, already off on a bad note. All right, we're recording a sacred podcast right now, so I'm not going to interject. Because Jesus said not to do that, but there'd be some contention happening right now.
Indeed. So he's back living with us, and what are you up to? What's your plan?
Well, I'm kind of just being a vagabundo for all of you guys who speak Portuguese out there. Not really doing much of anything because it's really hard to get a job in California. But we're looking to go to Provo in the summer. Yeah, that's about it for now.
Get a job, go to school, get married.
Sure.
Those are the plans.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
If there are any single female listeners in the Newport Beach area, at the end of the podcast will tell you how to contact us and just ask for my number.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's probably not a strong demographic that we.
Hey, you never know.
No.
But it just takes one. Just takes one.
That's true.
Speaking of it just taking one, Alia, what's been going on in your life lately?
Oh, nothing important.
Okay, Rivka, how are your life going? No.
Kidding.
Run it back.
Rewind.
Alia.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've been on, a couple weeks, and in the last few weeks I got engaged. Woo! Yay! Yeah.
Slow clap from
The
Lawson.
guy that the boyfriend that I mentioned a couple weeks ago was not a new boyfriend, and now he is my fiance. So,
Would you like to tell them how it all went down?
the engagement,
Yeah.
the proposal.
Or you can say no if you want, but
Sure. It was I was home with my family for Lawson to come home from his mission. And, I was just minding my own business in California, and my parents surprised me by bringing my boyfriend out. And then we all went to Disneyland, and, he proposed at Disney, and it was great.
y'all, that is the most Alia retelling.
Listen, I don't want to take too much time, okay?
Every mission email was like that. Hey, this week I taught the gospel. Hope you're doing good. Bye.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can concur.
Woman of few words.
So, allow me, Alia.
Okay.
We schemed.
Settle in.
Yeah, we schemed with her boyfriend, JD is his name, for probably a full-on month to get him there without Alia knowing.
Yep. I had no idea.
After it all went down, it seemed like every person we talked to was like, hey, how'd the engagement go? She's like, you knew? And we were like, yeah, everybody knew but you.
but me.
So thank you
Which is
to
how it should
everyone. Indeed. Thank you to everyone we know and love. You are hereby trustworthy because nobody told Alia, which is a miracle because a lot of people knew.
Awesome.
So Alia was home for Lawson, and then the Friday of that week was Alia's birthday. And so we told Alia, hey, actually, Deanna was like, what would be something fun you want to do for your birthday? And Alia she kind of took the bait, but didn't really take the bait and was like, said something. And I was like, how about Disneyland? And she's
And I was like, oh, yes, that one.
to quote the kids, she was like, actually? So, and I was like, actually. And so we did a family dinner, and then we told everyone, hey, let's get in the car. We're going to Disneyland. And so we drive off. It's dark. She's in the back with Camilla. They're like, chatting, having fun, not really paying attention to where we're going. I drive to the airport instead of Disneyland. And right as we pull into the airport, she's like, wait, is this the airport?
Like, why are we here?
Disney has changed.
It's not Disneyland.
I don't remember planes. Is there a new drone show? So I had to come up with, I had a pre-prepared falsehood, which was not untrue, but it wasn't the whole truth. And I said, well, we're picking up a special guest who really wanted to be here for Lawson's homecoming. Partially true. And but enough of a falsehood to distract her for 30 seconds while we pulled up to the curb. And when we pulled up to the curb, who was there, Aaliyah?
JD.
Yay! Your boyfriend, JD. So he jumped in the car, and about that time, she started getting suspicious, like, wait a minute. Because they had talked about it.
Too good.
Yeah, it was too good.
I knew it was coming. Birthday's a good day, you know?
Indeed. So then we went to the Millennium Falcon in Disneyland and watched the fireworks there, which are awesome. The fireworks sort of malfunctioned, so everybody cleared out except for us. And then we found a photographer, one of the Disney photographers, to take our family picture in front of the Falcon. And then I told the photographer, like, hey, he's about to propose. So after the family pictures, the photographer was like, anybody want, like, small groups? Everyone but Ali and JD were like, yeah, they do. And so then the photographer told Aaliyah to like turn around and point at the mountains in the background, and then then she told JD to get down on one knee, and then had Aaliyah turn around, and he was there waiting with the ring and the question. And then people around us, like a small groups, were like, "Hey, I think that guy's proposing," so they started clapping, and that made other people turn around.
They were like,
So they looked and they were like, "Hey!" They started clapping, and then more people turned around and started clapping, and it was really fun. So
yeah, it was a good day.
That's awesome.
And then later we were going to get corn dogs and churros because those are 10 out of 10 good at Disneyland. And while I was waiting in line for churros, somebody else proposed in front of the castle. It was Valentine's Day, people. There's just love was in the air. So yeah, that's exciting. And we're happy for Aaliyah, and she's happy, and they are going to live happily ever after with nary a problem in their future.
Yep, no problems in life. Pretty sure that's how the gospel works, right?
That's how marriage works. As soon as you get married, all your problems are over.
Yeah.
So excited.
Awesome. Well, with that proper retelling, let us go to Rivka. How are you, Rivka?
I'm great.
Anything new and exciting in your life?
Well, which is awesome. Went on a
Okay.
hike this morning.
Fun.
With my family. Yeah.
And where is your partner in crime? So we're not recording with Brooke tonight.
Burke is not. Well, Burke is here. He's just not here recording. He's on the back porch with friends having their once a month guys hangout.
Awesome.
Yep.
I genuinely wish I could be there. That sounds like fun.
They'll have a good time. It's a good thing that they do. So
Awesome. Did Burke cook anything for it?
no, just snacks and sodas.
Okay, no 36-hour brisket or anything crazy, huh?
Sounds good.
No.
All right.
That does sound good.
It does.
Maybe next time we can do that just so I get some.
Sounds like a good plan. Well, in the meantime, we have a talk to discuss, and it is called, let me get back to it, Sacred Scriptures, The Foundations of Faith by Elder Quentin L. Cook of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Getting close up on the end here. After this, we'll have 3 more left to go. So
Wow.
I know.
That's
And,
crazy.
Unlike some talks, this talk has a great title. It's about the scriptures. So, not to say they're bad titles, just that this one is on point.
Shaded the apostles.
Okay, well,
Name
that didn't come out right, but let me rephrase. This title is very direct, and I appreciate directness. So, there we go. Lawson, we're going to start with you. What was the fundamental doctrine?
Alrighty, well, I picked out something right here in like the second paragraph. This phrase stuck out to me. Any device, or even one equipped with artificial intelligence, will never be as important or significant as the spiritual guidance that comes from divine revelation.
Awesome. Tell me why that stood out to you.
Well, it's a pretty good summary of everything he was talking about in the talk here. And I like the way that it kind of shifts your priorities, what he says here. Because there's just so much stuff, as a missionary coming back into the real world, just seeing the way everything is drowning in news and just kind of unimportant garbage. It was cool to see him talk about how the scriptures, specifically divine revelation and guidance that comes from the scriptures, is higher priority than any of those things. And so you can spend your whole life working with these kind of unimportant things, but if you don't get a solid foundation of revelation and communication from God, then it's going to be kind of a waste in the end.
How has revelation been the most important form of guidance in your life?
That's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah, good job. Baciaki.
Baciaki.
Parabangs.
Parabangs.
I'll try and answer your question now if you don't mind.
Sim, obrigado. Faz favor.
Revelation has given me key insights which have helped me to overcome difficulties and to live a life of more joy and fulfillment. And so there are other activities that I have fun doing and that are fulfilling and engaging, but revelation, key moments of revelation provide the backdrop for the whole rest of my life, which helps me to just live and experience things in a good way.
Awesome. Anything, I like to drill down to concrete things here.
Dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper. Any concrete example of that? Like choosing to go on a mission or choosing to go back to school or whatever the case may be. Something that the Spirit has directed you to do.
I'll give you two examples. It's kind of hard because revelation is constant. So there's like a lot of examples. So it's hard to think of specific ones.
Right.
But you mentioned going on a mission. That was inspired choice. I was kind of afraid of going on a mission for, I think, most of the normal reasons, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose 2 years of my life or whatever. I'm going to be 2 years behind. Like, can I really do all that? But I have very specific instructions in my patriarchal blessing telling me that I would serve a mission. And then I prayed and I was like, wait, is this for real? And I was like, yeah, it says it right there. It's for real. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. And that was a great choice. Best choice I've made thus far. And before that, before my mission, I went to FSY. And I went to FSY prayerfully seeking some help with just some problems I was dealing with, some kind of like general unmotivation. And God gave me a specific direction to look for ways to have joy. And that was interesting. It was not what I was thinking of in that moment. And that revelation has progressed over the course of my mission as I've learned more and more about joy. I did a whole read through of the Book of Mormon, highlighting every instance of the word joy and just studying it. And I learned a lot. So that's helped me to define more purpose and direction in my life.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing those stories. Let's move to Alia. Alia, what was your fundamental doctrine?
Alrighty. We cannot underestimate the significance of sacred scriptures, both in conversions and in remaining faithful in the gospel.
Okay.
So, I chose this one because I feel like I do underestimate the scriptures.
How do you underestimate them?
I don't know, because I read them every day. And
that doesn't sound like you're underestimating them.
Well, but I'm not like experiencing life-changing results every day that I'm like witnessing, you know, because it's a daily thing. Smaller and simple. I don't know.
Did he say you would have life-changing, large, dramatic results daily?
No, I'm just saying that's why I underestimate them. Is because it's not like this huge. It's not like I'm choosing to get baptized every day, you know? So, but obviously they are important in helping us keep the covenants that we have made in those bigger decision moments. So, yeah, I don't know. Just keep doing them and have faith that small and simple things really do lead to big things.
Just keep swimming?
Just keep swimming. Keep moving forward.
I keep moving forward. That's better than just keep swimming.
That's a good.
I would argue, Aaliyah, that you are actually living this well. So take out the word conversion, because in your mind that was associated with baptism, right? So
Right.
the significance of sacred scriptures in remaining faithful. I mean, isn't that why you're doing the scriptures every day?
That's true. Yeah.
So I don't think it has to be dramatic. I think it just has to be consistent.
Indeed.
So
And consistent I am.
awesome. Okay, Rivka, what was your fundamental doctrine?
Let's see. The sacred scriptures and living prophets are a major way a loving Heavenly Father makes his plan of happiness available to all his children.
Oh, I like it. Tell me why that stood out to you.
Because I'm really grateful that that is true and that we have scriptures and that we have living prophets.
Okay, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to other quotes that really helped us learn about the scriptures and their power and their purpose. So, Lawson, tell us something else you learned from the talk.
Alrighty. Just for some context, in the middle of the talk, he goes into a whole story about a family who was converted to the church and an experience they had where they had prayed about the Book of Mormon, they'd received their confirmation, but then they get a big box of anti-Mormon junk and they started to have doubts, and then the apostle came over and it was a whole thing. But in the middle of this experience, there's a quote that stuck out to me, because they're praying to start their conversation about their doubts, and the Spirit tells him that the father, who was the only one they were still unsure about, the father of this family, already had a testimony. So he asks if he has a testimony. He says he does, and then he goes like this. I then asked whether it would be necessary to review the pamphlets if they already had a spiritual confirmation. The father replied that it would not be necessary. So I just thought that was an interesting idea. He continues in the talk to talk about how internet has made this material of doubt very widely available, easy to get. I think certainly most people are going to be exposed to doubts and questions about whatever, church history or doctrine at some point in their life. And you really need your spiritual confirmation in these moments. I'm a big advocate for also seeking answers to these questions. I think there's good answers that exist to many questions that are out there if you look in the right places. Like in the gospel library, there's a ton of articles and everything. But you have to approach it with a perspective of faith and a spiritual confirmation, because if your faith is reliant on this physical evidences, then you might get exposed to something and then you might disregard all of the spiritual experiences you've had in the past and kind of abandon something that's really good.
Awesome. So just to bring it back to the quote, why did he not need to go through? So the purpose of Elder Cook's visit, he was their bishop at the time, was to address the concerns from the literature, and then they ended up not needing to do that. So why didn't he need to do that, even though they might have still had questions about what was in the literature?
Because they already had their spiritual confirmation. They had a testimony of the Spirit, and so they could proceed in faith, even not having all the answers yet.
Yeah, awesome. One of my favorite places that has provided excellent answers is on a podcast called Church History Matters.
10 out of 10 recommend. It is so good.
Yeah, super good. Faithful professors of church history and doctrine, one from BYU Purple, one from BYU Idaho. They shy away from nothing. They give all the details, full transparency. Sometimes they go into things like, this could be a controversy. I'm like, this is not controversial at all. Like, it's just like a minor controversy, but they're just like getting every last detail in there. So super good.
It's very good.
Place to hear some answers to your questions. So Carrie Muhlstein has written some good stuff, answered questions about the book of Abraham as well, if someone's stuck on that, and the Egyptian papyrus and all those things. So there's a lot of good resources nowadays.
Yeah.
So did I say Mormon?
No, I was saying Hugh Nibley.
Oh.
Hugh Nibley also has good.
Oh, Hugh Nibley, yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
OG,
that's true.
the OG.
That's true.
So, yeah, this story was from, whenever, long time ago, before it was all internet. I remember going on my mission and a friend gave me a book to read. I can't remember what it was called, but it was about answering criticisms. So it was interesting because at the time, these sorts of, it's the same attacks. I mean, they're just repackaged now on the internet. They were coming from outside the church. And it was often like other Christians who were like, oh, have you heard of the Kinderhook plates? Blah, blah, blah. And if you didn't study about it, you would have no idea that any of it happened, right? And so I got this book, I read through it, felt ready to go. Now it feels like it comes from inside the church. And people who find this stuff out, the CES letter, blah, 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 and they leave the church or disaffected and decide to tear it down. So they leave the church physically, but can't leave it alone emotionally. So, but there are answers. If anyone out there is feeling like, well, what about this? There are answers for almost everything. So get that spiritual witness, hang on to that, hold fast until the intellectual part comes along with it. So, sure. Okay, Aaliyah, what else did you like from this talk?
All right. He says, combined with the teachings of living prophets, these sacred scriptures provide doctrinal direction for us in today's world. These scriptures are most powerful when they give instruction, correction, comfort, and consolation to individuals and families who seek guidance from the Lord. So, they provide doctrinal direction, which I think Burke would say is the opposite of doctrinal drift.
Nice.
Doctrinal drift, Bob. Doctrinal drift, Bob. And also this sentence about the scriptures being most powerful when they're being instructive and giving correction and comfort. That was interesting to me because I don't feel like the scriptures are the ones giving those things. I feel like we're the ones taking those from the scriptures. Like, if I'm going to receive comfort from reading the scriptures, it's going to be because of what I do. And it's up to me, basically. And so, essentially, what I took from that is that the scriptures are most powerful when we are looking for those things from them. So, instruction, correction, comfort, and consolation. If we're not looking for those things and we're just kind of reading, then they're not at their most powerful.
Focusing on the agency piece.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I'm just thinking about that. So the power comes when we seek. If we're just reading passively with nothing that we're seeking, we don't get what we could out of them.
Mm-hmm. We don't get instruction or correction or comfort.
How many times have you opened the scriptures and said, Lord, correct me?
Not often enough.
Indeed. Okay. Awesome. Let's go to Rivka. Rivka, what was your next thing that you want to talk about? Next quote.
I really liked the sort of discussion he has about the internet being a powerful tool for studying the gospel and being something that is also used to create doubt and undermine faith in precious gospel principles. So those like dichotomous uses. And he says the internet can be used in a positive way or a destructive way, and then gives them counsel about, using it, learning to use it for good, use its powers for good and not evil.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like that because they're so, sometimes you hear people talk about just how awful the internet is and how awful social media is, and there are some really awful parts of it, but so often I am just overwhelmed with how incredible it is that I am having my mortal experience right now at a time when not only are there prophets and apostles on the earth, but that I can hear from them all the time. Like, I could literally play their stuff 24 hours a day, but also because they're all active on social media, you can hear something from the prophet or one of the apostles almost every day. And
That's incredible.
Just astonishing to me. I mean, of all the people who have lived on this earth, like, it just, passes all my understanding, as it says. But, like, if I got to pick an ideal time to have my mortal experience, this is it. Like, this is my ideal mortal experience, getting to live with prophets and apostles in the land and having the opportunity to hear them so often. So, as I was reading through that, it is true that we need to be cautious and skilled as we use the internet, but there is so much good that we can find if we go seeking. And that, if we go seeking for it, can train our algorithms to keep feeding us great stuff.
I like that. He did say the algorithm, I can't remember the quote, but it's like, could destroy you, basically.
Yeah.
Lead you down a path that destroys faith.
Yep. And impairs your eternal progression. But I love that his like final counsel about how to deal with that is to immerse yourself in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
So
but I like your idea of like putting the algorithm to use for you, right? Getting that
make
stuff.
it work. Yeah, because we're all on it.
Yeah.
In some respects, as much as we try to avoid social media of various sorts, we're all on it. So you're going to be fed things, even if it's through ads and stuff,
Yeah.
So be actively training your algorithms to be feeding you good stuff.
Yeah.
I love I had the picture in my mind, Rivka, of like the Ephesians, like, dear Paul, should we be doing this thing? And then 6 months later, if they're lucky, a letter makes it back to them. Stop doing that thing.
Yeah.
And now you can hear from the prophet like every day. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So good thought. Awesome. Okay, well, scriptures have power. They convert us. They retain us, for lack of a better word. And they can answer questions, or at least give us the strength to hold on while we're waiting for answers of questions. They can open us up to revelation to guide us. And these are all things that he said in this talk. So now let's close it out with invitations and promised blessings. So Lawson, what invitation did you hear when you read this?
Got an invitation right at the end here that I really liked. Return to the sacred scriptures, prophetic guidance, religious observance in the home, and the music of faith.
Yep.
And this invitation is specifically for people who have deviated from the covenant path, but I think it applies to everybody. And this is a good list here of some things that we should be incorporating to counteract the negative algorithm and create a more positive algorithm.
I'm just going to point out, and I've been trying to like emphasize when this has come up in conference, music, right? Not just scriptures, music.
Mm-hmm.
It's so powerful. Even like there are times when I'm not feeling connected to the Lord or whatever, just not feeling great. All I have been doing lately to solve this, well, two things. One is just open the app and go to the new hymn book. And I've just been listening to new hymns on repeat, and they're amazing. And then I've been listening to choral music. Now that might be not as many people's sort of cup of tea. I love choirs. I love choral music, but man, is it powerful. So music of faith. Was there a specific promise he attached to that? Do you know?
There was not, but he does talk immediately after this. I mark this as a doctrine, but he says, every soul is precious to the Lord. We need you. The Lord needs you, and you need him. You will always be welcome. So I think implied in that is that if you have deviated and are not feeling precious to the Lord, returning to the scriptures and following prophetic guidance and incorporating sacred music into your life will help you have a certainty that you are precious to him and be able to feel that.
Awesome. Okay, Aaliyah, what was your next invitation and promise blessing you found?
Let me just add to the music thing real fast.
Yeah.
If you are out there and you're like, the hymns are boring, listen to them anyways. But also, here's some other artists for you to listen to. Unspoken, King Will Come, Kay Anthony, Elenyi, Piano Guys, all those Christian artists, some not of our faith, some yes, Nashville Tribute Band. Anyways,
I love
there's a lot
them.
out there. Lauren
Yeah.
Daigle, Mercy Me.
Yeah.
There's a huge
Lots.
collection of. There's like a whole. It's a genre. Christian contemporary rock is the genre. So, anyways, it's out there.
That's another algorithm that can work in your favor. So
Yes.
I love Mercy Me. So just go into your Spotify, Mercy Me, The Hurt and the Healer, which is a great song, and then it'll just populate. Sarah
Ben
Groves, if you like more,
I love Sarah Groves.
she's more like gentle indie, acoustic Christian, but like really sincere, almost earnest. Yeah, there's a ton of good. And then of course
Also-
Strive to Be, the church's
That's
music
true.
arm. Yeah.
I also release religious music sometimes, so just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyways, I'm gonna go back to the algorithm because this was the invitation that I took away the second I heard it, and I have tried to follow it since. So he gives a whole warning about the algorithm, and then he says, "Seek righteousness and avoid dark internet rabbit holes and doom scrolling."
Yeah.
So I've not been perfect at that, but I have significantly cut down on the amount of doom scrolling I've done because of this invitation. Highly recommend.
If I
But
can just...
did you see that he defined doom scrolling in the footnote?
No, I didn't look at
Yes.
that.
Note 18, it's the best. Doom scrolling is the act of habitually and obsessively searching for negative or depressing news on social media or news feeds, according to Merriam.
That's not how I would define it, but also don't do that.
Yeah, that's actually what do they call that, Aaliyah? There's a word for that that's different. Because our Camilla used to watch those rant videos that are just like everything sucks, I hate everything, and we're like,
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the word.
this is like absolutely wallowing. And even if in the moment you feel like, oh, that person understands me, it inflames
Yeah.
your feelings. It doesn't resolve them.
It does.
So I think that's a separate thing. I agree, Aaliyah,
I
that
think-
doom scrolling is more like
I think it's the way the term was originally meant,
sure it
and then
is,
we
yeah.
just totally broadened it to be like, I'm just like sitting there mindlessly scrolling. I think it's just been expanded. But
so
yeah.
there's a Harvard professor who's written a bunch of books on ADD. He's got it, and he's like, here's how you thrive with it. He calls it screen sucking.
Well, that's a good term.
Because it's like a black hole where you just start and you don't even want to keep going, but you can't stop. And so
It's crazy.
it's like the black hole, you're orbiting it and getting closer and closer to the center
Until you
without
turn into spaghetti.
until you turn into spaghetti like Loki. and yeah, that occasionally happens to me, but not that often. It'll be like after BYU loses a football game and I'm on Twitter and I'm just like,
Twitter.
yeah, it's a feeling of like, I don't like this. I don't want to do it. Why am I doing it? So
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
I can hop on that for 2 seconds, Aaliyah's friend told her about an app that Aaliyah told us about called Screens In.
Aaliyah's
So good.
cousins, brothers, roommate, dog owners,
That's the one. That's
nephew told my friend at 31 Flavors last night that Ferris was sick. Anyways,
that was a super cool reference that all of us got.
yeah, Rivka got it.
I got it.
So Screens In, it just puts, you just make a list of apps, and then every time you try and open that app, it stops you for like 5 seconds, and it just puts a little message up like, how long are you going to check this? Or why am I opening this app? And that 5 seconds is so effective that my screen time on almost all social media has gone down to like 0 because I don't actually want to open it ever. And so I just stopped using it, and it's been very effective. I've enjoyed
Awesome.
that app. I would recommend.
What's it called again?
Screen Zen.
Screen Zen. I love it.
Highly recommend. I use it too.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Dump your social media. It's awesome.
Agreed.
All right, Rivka, last invitation.
From President Nelson. I promise that if you prayerfully study the Book of Mormon every day, you will make better decisions every day. And if you daily immerse yourself in the Book of Mormon, you can be immunized against the evils of the day. Get in there.
No, I did injecting a vaccine into your tissues.
Oh, okay.
I will make 0 vaccine jokes right now. I just like that quote. It's a hot topic. Kind of like his discussion of being vaccinated or, protecting you against those doubts. So actually, who's been waiting for me to say when I was bishop? I know you've been waiting for it. You've all wanted me to say it. So when I was bishop,
you have to give us the full name of the thing you're about to talk about.
Okay, I got to try and remember it. What I wanted to do was expose the youth to some of these issues. I knew that they wouldn't remember the specific answers we were giving, but I wanted them to remember, hey, nobody's hiding this, and I know at least one person, Bishop Ebert, has thought about all of them and has answers, and so if I come up against something I haven't heard of, I'm going to not have everything fall like a house of cards, right? So that was and then my buddy Campbell, he was in our ward, and it makes it sound like I just pulled a random guy off the street. Anyways, we put together a series of discussions about these tough issues to build faith, and it was called the Bishop Ebert and Brother Hofstetter Vaccination and Inoculation.
You forgot all of your titles.
I forgot the title.
It's like Dr. Bishop MD.
Oh yes.
Ebert.
I did not go to 7 years of bishop school just to be called doctor. Dr. Bishop Ebert and Professor Hofstetter or whatever, because he was studying to be a physical therapist. Vaccination and inoculation, blah blah blah. We intentionally made it long and crazy. It was such a good experience, and we told him we read all about polygamy in the Book of Abraham and whatever, and the foundation was also keep your testimony strong, and those other things will come. You can get vaccinated, not just from the evils of the world, but from those things that can crush your faith. So, anyways, that was a total tangent that everybody go back in time and erase the last 5 minutes of your life. All right. So, okay. Rivka, anything else about that? I sort of co-opted it from you.
Nope. I love it. Well, he also says studying the Book of Mormon is essential for enduring conversion. And so I was thinking, getting back to Aaliyah's first thing, where she was talking about and equating conversion with baptism, that initial maybe conversion to the gospel. But what she is doing in her everyday Book of Mormon is this constant conversion that happens over time. Yeah. And so that was a perfect example of what he's saying here. You're doing it, and it does make a difference. It does.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a great one of our fundamentals, right? The primary answers.
Yep.
Next talk we're going to discuss is called Sons and Daughters of God by Elder Reuben V. Aliad. I did not even try to say that with any sort of accent or anything, of the 70. So in the meantime, Aaliyah, how could people get a hold of us?
You can email us at wordsoftheprophets@gmail.com, or you can comment a message on our Facebook and Instagram at, you guessed it, Words of the Prophets Podcast.
Lawson, I want you to lean forward, get your full face in the camera so all those single Newport Beach ladies can look at you. You just winked at the camera.
I didn't wink at the camera. I winked at
the single ladies.
Extremely attractive. Single person in California is watching this right now.
Indeed. Awesome. All right. Well, in between going on dates, if you want to prepare for the next talk, read this one, Sons and Daughters of God, or contact us for other spiritual reasons as well. Those are all options. They are. But thank you for joining us today. And until next time, keep the faith.